A man walked into Steelman Boxing on a Tuesday afternoon and asked if he could use a heavy bag. Nobody looked up. He paid the $10 drop-in fee in cash, filled out the liability waiver with a first name only, laced up a pair of worn hand wraps that had seen better years, found an open bag near the back wall, and started working. 40 minutes. That is how long it took. 40 minutes in a gym full of people who would have recognized his face on any billboard, any screen, any magazine cover in the waiting room. But in here, in the smell of old leather and chalk and dried sweat, in the ordinary rhythm of a man hitting a bag in the corner, nobody saw what they were not looking for. The man who eventually realized it was not quite about it. He stopped mid-combination, stepped back from his own bag, and said loud enough for the whole floor to hear, "Wait, is that Keanu Reeves?" The gym went still. And what happened in the next 30 minutes inside that gym in Van Nuys, California, became something none of the people who witnessed it would stop talking about for years. There is a gym on Van Nuys Street in Van Nuys called Steelman Boxing. It has been in the same building since 1987. The sign outside has been repainted twice since then, but the original outline still shows through the current coat. The letters slightly wider, slightly older, the shadow of a name that refused to go away. The building is a converted automotive garage. The ceiling is high and metal beamed. The ventilation is two industrial fans mounted near the entrance, and whatever air comes through the propped open side door. In the summer, neither is enough. The gym costs $45 a month. Drop-in is $10. There are no marble floors. There are no smart screens. There is a ring that has been reconvaced 3 times and still has a soft spot in the northwest corner that the regulars know to avoid. There are 22 heavy bags, a wall of speed bags that sounds like a rainstorm when they are all going at once, and a community board near the water fountain, covered in amateur fight cards and hand-lettered motivational quotes, and a laminated photograph of a very young Oscar de la Hoya that no one has had the heart to take down. The people who train here work for their money. They commute. They bring their own gloves in gym bags with broken zippers. They show up before the sun rises, and after it sets, around shift changes and school pickups and second jobs. They are not the people who train boxing as a lifestyle. They are the people who train boxing because it is theirs. The man who ran Steelman had been its owner for 11 years and its member for 5 years before that. His name was Raymond Okeke. He had grown up in Inglewood, trained as a welterweight, never made it past the regional circuit, and come to terms with that at 27 in a way that had made him unexpectedly peaceful. He opened the gym 2 years later with money borrowed from his mother and a lease that terrified him. 11 years on, the lease no longer terrified him. Other things did. A Porsche-branded gym had opened 4 blocks east 6 months ago. Glass walls, a coffee bar with oat milk, monthly memberships at $280. Raymond had watched his drop-in numbers fall by 22% since October. 3 of his regulars had already transferred. He had not told anyone this. He had not told his wife. He had started keeping a second set of numbers in a notebook he did not leave on his desk. That notebook was in his bottom drawer on the Tuesday afternoon. A man in a gray hoodie and dark jeans walked in from the street and asked if he could use a heavy bag. Raymond was in his office when Marcus, the afternoon floor trainer, knocked on the doorframe. Marcus was 24. He had the kind of face that had not yet decided how serious it wanted to be. Quick to laugh, quick to focus, quick to get confused. He was confused now. Rai. He paused. "You need to come out here." Raymond did not look up from his notebook. "What is it?" "I think there's someone famous on bag 3. "Famous how?" "Famous like." Marcus stopped. "Just come look." Raymond set down his pen. He had heard this before. The gym was not far from a handful of studio lots. Once every few months, someone moderately recognizable came in. Raymond had a standing policy. Treat them the same as everyone else. Do not make it a thing. Do not let anyone make it a thing. He walked out of the office. The man on bag 3 was working at a steady pace. Combinations. Nothing showy. Left jab, right cross, step out. Reset. His form was competent, not trained, but disciplined. The kind you build by doing something long enough to stop doing it wrong. He had good footwork. His weight transfer was clean. Raymond watched him for 10 seconds. Then he recognized him. The gray hoodie, the dark jeans, the worn hand wraps in the exact blue-gray of something washed Too many times to remember what color it started. The jawline, the posture, the specific way this particular man had of existing in a room. Like he had always been there, like he had nowhere else to be, like the room was lucky to have him, and he was lucky to have the room. Raymond had been in enough gyms in his life to recognize when someone loved what they were doing. This man loved what he was doing. He walked back to his office without making it a thing. "It is him," he told Marcus. "So what do we do?" Raymond picked up his pen. "Let him train." What Raymond did not know, what no one in the gym knew, because the man had paid cash and written only a first name, was that Keanu Reeves had been coming to boxing gyms off and on for 30 years, not as a celebrity stunt, not as research for a film, though it had been that too. Once, he came because he had found, early in his life, that there was a particular quality of quiet inside a boxing gym that existed nowhere else he had been. A silence underneath the noise, a stillness underneath the movement, a particular keen of focus that asked nothing of you except to be exactly where you were. It had grown up without the kind of stability that teaches a person to be where they are. He had lost his daughter. He had lost his closest friend. It had moved through grief in the way some people move through it, not by processing it cleanly, not by arriving at understanding, but by finding things that required all of his attention and giving his attention completely. Boxing was one of those things. It did not talk about this. He did not talk about most of the hard things. The people who knew him well said he had a quality they struggled to name. Something between reserve and openness. Something that made him easy to be around without ever making him easy to read. It had passed the Steelman gym twice that week on his way to somewhere else. Both times he had noted the sign, the propped open door, the sound of the speed bags through the wall. On the third day he had stopped. $10. A liability waiver. A heavy bag near the back wall. He had been on it for 40 minutes when the voice across the gym said his name. The man who said it was a regular named Dario. Dario Vasquez was 31. He had been training at Steelman for 6 years, long enough to have an unspoken claim on his bag, his locker, his corner of the bench near the speed bags. It was a machinist. He trained 4 days a week without variation. He was not the kind of man who said things out loud that he was not certain of. He was certain. He stepped back from his bag. He looked at the man in the gray hoodie. He said the name. The gym went still. Not all at once. First the people near Dario. Then, in a slow wave, the people further back. The speed bags went quiet one by one. Someone let their jump rope fall. The only sound left was the rhythmic impact from bag 3, which continued for 1 beat, 2 beats, 3, and then stopped. The man turned around. He was not alarmed. He was not braced. He looked the way a person looks when someone calls their name across a crowded room. Attentive, present, slightly amused. "Yeah," he said. The gym absorbed this. Then everyone started talking at once. Raymond came out of his office. The floor had the specific energy of a contained situation that could go either way. Phones were appearing. Someone was already moving toward the door to get better signal. Raymond had a standing policy about phones in the gym. You kept them on the benches. You did not use them on the floor. You especially did not use them to photograph other people. And was about to invoke it when the man in the gray hoodie raised one hand. Not a wave, not a signal, just a hand flat held at shoulder height. The room quieted. "I am going to ask you something," he said. "And I want you to know I mean it." He paused. "Can I finish my session?" The room laughed. The tension in it broke so cleanly that Raymond felt it release from his own shoulders. "Yeah," someone said. "Yeah," a few more said. "Go ahead, man." He turned back to the bag. Raymond stood at the edge of the floor and watched the gym resettle. Slowly, one by one, people went back to their own work. The speed bags found their rhythm again. The jump ropes came up. Not everyone returned fully. There were glances. There were pauses. There were people who trained at half focus for the next few minutes. But the gym came back. Dario Vasquez went back to his bag. He hit it twice, stopped, and looked across the floor. Then he went back to hitting it. There was a 14-year-old in the gym that afternoon. His name was Carlos. He had been coming to Steelman for 3 months, referred by a school counselor who had run out of other ideas. Carlos was not a troubled kid, in the way the phrase usually means. He was not angry, not destructive, not looking for problems. He was a kid with no father at home. A mother working nights, two younger siblings, and the neighborhood that had a very specific set of expectations for what a 14-year-old boy from his block was going to amount to. A had shown up the first day in a pair of shoes he'd clearly borrowed, one of them slightly too large, and a t-shirt 3 sizes too big because the gym required you to wear one. He had not said much. A had done everything Marcus told him to do. He had come back the next week and the week after that. A was working on a speed bag when the name was said. He stopped. He looked across the gym. He looked at the man on bag 3. He looked away and looked back. A got off the stool. He walked across the floor toward the heavy bags, not toward the man specifically, just in that general direction. The way a 14-year-old approaches something he wants to be near without being obvious about it. He found an open heavy bag 2 down from bag 3. He started working. It did not say anything for 11 minutes. Then, without stopping his combination, staring straight at the bag, "You're in John Wick." The man on bag 3 did not miss a beat. "That is correct. The second one's the best one. I appreciate that. Chapter 4's real good too. Good to hear." Carlos worked his bag. 3 more combinations. Then, "You actually know how to do that stuff?" "Some of it. I had good people helping me. But you can fight. I can hit a bag." Carlos considered this. "That's not the same thing." "No," the man said. "It is not." They trained in parallel for the next several minutes, not speaking. Just 2 people hitting bags in a gym in Van Nuys on a Tuesday afternoon. Raymond watched from across the floor. It was not doing anything in particular. He had stopped pretending to manage the afternoon session and was simply standing near the water fountain with his arms folded, watching his gym happen. It was thinking about the notebook in his bottom drawer. He was thinking about the numbers in it, the 22% drop in drop-ins, the 3 departed regulars, the Glasswall gym, 4 blocks east, with its oat milk and its $280 memberships. He was thinking about what it would take to compete with that, and whether competing with it was even the right question, and whether a gym that had been on Banoan Street since 1987 owed anything to 1987, or whether it just owed something to the people in it right now. It was thinking about his mother's money and the lease that had once terrified him, and the laminated photograph of a very young Oscar de la Hoya that no one had the heart to take down. It was thinking about all of this when the man in the gray hoodie finished his session, unwrapped his hands, and walked toward the door. He stopped at the front desk. "What do I owe you?" he said. Raymond blinked. "You paid the drop-in at the door." "I know. What do I actually owe you?" Raymond looked at him. The man looked back, not with celebrity intensity, not with the pressure of being recognized, just the way a person looks at someone when they are asking a real question and waiting for a real answer. "Can I tell you something?" Raymond said. "Sure." Raymond told him about the notebook. He did not mean to. He had not told his wife. He had not told Marcus. He was not sure why the words came out in that moment, in that order, to this particular stranger who had wandered in off Banoan Street and asked to use a heavy bag. But they did. He talked for 4 minutes. The gym was quiet around them. Not listening, not pointed eavesdropping. Quiet, just the natural quiet of a floor winding down in the late afternoon. People finishing up, heading for the locker room. A few still working in the back. The man listened the way he hit the bag, steadily, without hurry, percent. When Raymond finished, the man said, "How old is the gym?" 37 years. "How many people trained here?" "I don't know." "Thousands. Any of them go somewhere?" Raymond thought about this. Dario Vasquez, who had been a troubled kid before he was a machinist. A woman named Priya, who had trained here for 2 years before getting sober and crediting the gym in the interview she gave. 6 or 7 kids from the junior program who had gone to college. "Yeah," Raymond said. "Some of them." The man nodded. "That is not nothing. It does not pay the lease." "No," the man said. "It doesn't." He was quiet for a moment. "What is the kid's name?" "The one who told me chapter 4 was real good." Raymond looked across the gym. Carlos was coiling his jump rope near the speed bags, doing it with more care than a 14-year-old usually gives to coiling a jump rope. "Carlos?" Raymond said. The man watched Carlos for a moment. "Hey, any good? He's been here 3 months. He doesn't know it yet, but yeah, he's got something. Does have what he needs. Gear, training, whatever it costs." Raymond hesitated. Carlos was on a scholarship arrangement that Raymond had not mentioned to anyone, because it was just something he did, had always done, would continue doing as long as the gym existed. "It's covered," Raymond said. The man looked at him. "From you?" "From the gym." The man was quiet for another moment. Then, "How many kids like him are in your program?" "Right now." 7. "What would it cost to add 10 more?" Raymond did his math. Equipment, floor time, the scholarship arrangement, Marcus's hours. He said a number. The man said, "Can I write you a check?" Raymond opened his mouth and then closed it. "You don't have to." "I know I don't have to." The man looked at him steadily. "I want to use this gym when I'm in the area. I would like to know it is still here." The check did not come with conditions. There was no press release, no announcement. No one was called. The man walked out of the gym at 5:15 on a Tuesday afternoon, holding the door for a woman coming in for the evening session, stepping onto Vanawan Street and disappearing in the direction of a dark SUV parked half a block down. Raymond stood at the front desk for a long time after he left. Marcus appeared beside him. "What did he say?" He asked about the gym. "What about the gym?" Raymond folded the check once and put it in his shirt pocket. He asked if it was worth saving. Marcus waited. "I told him yes," Raymond said. He went back to his office. He closed the door, he opened the bottom drawer, and took out the notebook with the second set of numbers. He sat with it for a while. Then he put it back in the drawer, not because the numbers had changed, but because the weight of them felt different now. Not lighter exactly, but less private. Less like a secret he was carrying alone. Carlos did not find out until 2 weeks later. He found out because Marcus told him, not in a dramatic way, not called into the office, not made into a ceremony, but standing beside him at the speed bags. One afternoon when the gym was quiet, saying it the way you say something you have been holding and finally decide to put down. Marcus told him there was a scholarship, that it had been there since he arrived, that it was not going anywhere. Carlos did not say anything for a moment. Then, who put up the money? Marcus told him. Carlos worked the speed bag for a long time after that. His rhythm was very good by then. 3 months better than when he had arrived. The timing more natural. The hands faster than they looked. He hit the bag and he thought about something. When he stopped, he said, he didn't even tell anyone. "No," Marcus said. "Why not?" Marcus thought about it. "Some people just do the thing," he said. "They don't need to watch it land." Carlos nodded slowly. He went back to the speed bag. Raymond Okeke did not add 10 new kids that year. He added 12. He pulled the scholarship roster from 7 to 19 over the following 18 months. He hired a second trainer, a retired amateur named Graciela, 20 years of experience. A gift for working with teenagers, the kind of patience that does not come from temperament, but from choice. He replaced the northeast wall of heavy bags, which had been needing it for 3 years. He fixed the ventilation in the back room. He did not raise his monthly membership rate. He did not add a coffee bar. He did not get glass walls. His dropping numbers recovered by the end of spring, not because of anything he had announced, but because word moved the way it always moves, person to person, in conversation, at the water fountain. That gym's been there since '87. Raymond runs it. Good people. 3 of his regulars came back. The Porsche-branded gym, 4 blocks east, added a second location in Burbank and put a press release about it on Instagram. Raymond read the press release once and then did not read it again. He kept the notebook in his bottom drawer. He still updated it. But he no longer kept it there out of dread. He kept it there because the numbers were real, and real things deserve to be looked at. The laminated photograph of the very young Oscar de la Hoya is still on the board by the water fountain. No one has had the heart to take it down. Carlos Vega is 17 now. He competed in his first sanctioned amateur bout in March of this year, a junior welterweight card in Riverside. 4 2-minute rounds. A decisión lost on points in a fight that everyone in attendance agreed was closer than the judges scored it. He shook hands with the other kid after the final bell. He was not upset. It told Marcus on the drive back that he wanted to watch the tape and find the third round again, because something had happened in the third round that he wanted to understand. That is not the reaction of a kid who does not have a future in this. He trains 5 days a week now. He has a scholarship to a magnet school across town. A different scholarship, an academic one, the kind that his counselor had stopped expecting by the time it arrived. It takes the bus 45 minutes each way. He does not complain about the bus. He still trains at Steelman. He has his own bag, his own locker, his own corner of the bench near the speed bags. It is not a claimed thing. He did not claim it. No one gave it to him. It just became his, the way things become yours when you show up long enough and quietly enough that the room starts to expect you. I have been thinking about this story for a while now. Yeah, I'm not sure what I keep coming back to. Not the check, not the moment in the parking lot, not even Carlos and the speed bag. I keep coming back to the 40 minutes. 40 minutes in which no one knew. 40 minutos in which a man was just a man hitting a bag in a gym, paying $10, filling out a liability waiver, wearing clothes that have been washed too many times, not performing anything, not signaling anything, just there. I think about what that must feel like, to move through the world with that much visibility, that much weight of being recognized, and to find a room where you are, for 40 minutes, just someone who loves the thing they are doing. And then I think about what he did when the 40 minutes were up. The question about the notebook, the check without the press release, the question about Carlos that he did not ask in front of Carlos. I do not know what I would do in his position. I would like to think I would handle it the same way. But honestly, I am not sure. Most of us want the credit for the good we do. Most of us need someone to see it land. Maybe that is the thing. Maybe the rarest quality in the world is not kindness. It is kindness that does not need to be watched. This story is fictional, inspired by Keanu Reeves' well-known reputation for humility, generosity, and genuine warmth toward ordinary people. If something in this story stayed with you, drop a comment. Tell me what it was. Not the big moment, the small one, the one you are still thinking about. Share it with someone who might need it today. If you want more stories like this, 1. Subscribe. There are more coming. See you in the next one.